Hello, my name is Katie Groves, and I am a survivor of the child snuff industry. This video is about my experience growing up in a child snuff ring known as Uncle Sam's Snuff Factory. This ring was located in Central Texas, and I will speak about it in the past tense only because I do not have current knowledge of its existence. But that does not mean I have any reason to believe that it has been shut down. Based on my hazy recollections, hazy because of the torture, the dissociation, the drugging, etc., the MK programming, I cannot give you an exact location, but I know that it was somewhere in Central Texas. My home was in Austin, and I recall the drives being about 45 minutes to get to this place. I recall it being in farmland, the entrance at least, but most of the ring being underground. Many people have a hard time believing that child snuff exists, that even snuff exists, then let alone that high-ranking government officials and military agencies orchestrate it. To believe that there are deep underground military bases that commit mass genocide against children, film it, and sell it on the black market for quote-unquote gore whores, snuff fiends, slop sluts, snuff kings. To watch it is unfathomable to most people. Unfortunately, that is reality, and that is a reality I know too well. I spent the first 17 years of my life being taken to that place on a near daily basis, sometimes held for longer periods of time, in which I was incarcerated, did not know if I would ever see daylight again. I've witnessed thousands of murders, largely of children of color, who were systematically targeted for their race by the white supremacist government, which runs the United States. They called it Uncle Sam's Snuff Factory as a private joke, as if it was a mom and pop shop, a local business. Uncle Sam was supposed to be a friendly figure, a figure in American propaganda, supposed to look at like a father, like a friend. The Snuff Factory, also known as the Genocide Factory, is the very literal definition of hell on earth. It is not unique. There are other places like it all over the world. I have been trafficked there as well. But what I can say is there is no place like Uncle Sam's. It is one of those places where a person can get literally anything they want for the right price if they have the connections to be there. I have seen wealthy, aristocratic white women ordering children of color on menus to be delivered dead, cooked on platters in a wing of the place they called Cannibal's Kitchen. And the reason I'm alive and the reason I survived is because I was born into an organized crime family involved with the CIA who ran this operation. And I had the genetics, the family background to be a candidate for perpetration, for continuing the cycle of violence, for being one of the quote-unquote leaders or members of the group involved. So I was kept alive for experimentation, for slavery, for use. I have fought my way out, and if you want to learn about that, you can watch any of the videos on my channel. It'll be informative. But I still suffer every day deeply with the post-traumatic stress. I have polyfragmented dissociative identity disorder as a result. It actually goes beyond the polyfragmentation. I have something called exponential fragmentation, which I have spoken of in some videos I'll put in the description below, so that you can understand the level of trauma that this type of abuse can create. I weep for my brothers and sisters in this place, the ones who are undoubtedly still alive and suffering there. I weep for the dead, but death is a merciful option in a place like that. No, that does not mean that I am not grateful for my survival, but grateful is a hard word to use in the circumstance. How does one feel gratitude when they have witnessed such carnage? Because we're not just talking about death, we're talking about the worst possible ways to die. Children being boiled alive in shit and piss that predators paid to donate into iron tubes. We're talking about children cut apart, fed to other children for people's sexual gratification. And most don't want to look at it, and I do not blame you. I do not blame the survivors of this abuse who stay dissociated, who remain used and enslaved because they cannot look either, because they cannot come to terms with their experiences. And I do not blame the general public who will not look. But this is reality. And all I ask of those who watch this is that you remember that while it may be excruciatingly painful for you to look at this reality, to think about this being possible, there are children. I ask you to remember and acknowledge that there are children who are surviving it every day. There are children enduring this, dying in this, and surviving this, who have to carry that pain all alone. And if they can do that, maybe you can muster the strength, if you have it, to look, to think about it just enough to get involved in some way to stop the madness. And no, I do not expect you to find this place, to find these underground trafficking rings, bust down the doors, and rescue these kids. I doubt if that will ever happen before World War III comes, or some epidemic and wipes us all out, while the people who perpetrate this remain alive in their underground worlds, and so on and so forth. Don't even want to go into the whole NWO thing right now. No, I don't expect that from you. I don't expect you to stop this in that way. But there are people fighting human trafficking. There are people who need voices. And at the very least, I encourage you to extend your support in some way to those who have survived, even if you cannot help those who are lost. I don't know how to help those who are lost. But there are people like me, and no, I'm not asking for myself, but for everyone. There are people like me who have survived these things who need help. They need therapists, we need doctors, we need lawyers, we need support, we need friends. We need new family because most of us have lost ours. And if you can be that for somebody, you can help the collective damage created by these rings. And hopefully one day that collective spirit will be strong enough to take this stuff out at its source, to go down into the trenches and actually rescue the majority of the children in child trafficking who never make it out. Thank you.